Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Meet the Candidates Night at Silver Spring Township. My name is Wayne Pecht, and I will be the moderator tonight. We have, as everyone knows, we have 6 candidates for 2 open supervisor seats, and we have 2 candidates for tax collector, only one of whom could join us tonight. So the format tonight is going to be each candidate for supervisor will have 2 minutes to give an opening statement. They can talk about their qualifications, their backgrounds, or what their plans for the township are. Then each candidate will have 3 minutes to answer 3 questions, 3 minutes for each question. And those questions were provided to the candidates in advance. They were developed by the Business Advisory Council. There will not be questions from the audience tonight, and there will not be follow-up questions. At the end, each supervisor candidate will have 3 minutes to give a closing comment about their qualifications and why they want to be township supervisor. And then Mr. Cedar, who is the tax collector candidate. That's the format that was provided by the Business Advisory Council. Mr. Cedar will have 3 minutes at the end to give a closing comment, but there will be no questions for the tax collector candidates. The order of candidates was chosen by random drawing. So we are going to start with Mark Pottiger. He has 2 minutes to give his opening statement, and there is a timer here, and each candidate will be notified when there are 15 seconds left in their time, and they will be cut off. There's a hard stop at the end of the time. Welcome.
Ready? All right. My name is Mark Pottiger, and I'm running for Silver Spring Township Supervisor. I would like to thank the Business Advisory Council and the New Kingston Fire Department for hosting this event. I've been a lifelong resident of Silver Spring Township for over 65 years. I was born in Mechanicsburg, and I was raised right here in New Kingston. Growing up, my parents taught me honesty, hard work, and humility in service to God, family, and country. I've been married to my wife, Sherry, for 48 years. We have 4 sons, 4 daughter-in-laws, and 11 grandchildren. Before retiring, I was a successful local business owner for over 27 years. Owning my own business has taught me a lot about what it really takes to properly manage a large organization. It has also taught me how to care and support customers and employees, and how to make smart decisions in order to grow and prosper. I'm very proud of my 4 sons now that run the business, and they've brought it up to the next level. They now have over 80 employees. I'm very proud, my goal is to manage and run the township like a business. I want to apply full transparency and accountability. This starts at the top with the supervisors and goes all the way through the different departments of the township. I want residents to feel welcome coming to the township building and being helped with their questions and concerns. I'm not a politician. I never had a political office. I have no ties to any developers or any special interest groups, and I fully support our police, fire, and EMS, and I support our local businesses. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Next up is Adrian Garcia. I'm sorry, what?
I can't hear it properly.
I think they're saying the AC is running.
Alan, can we do something about the AC running is drowning out the sound?
Yeah, or you can have the one.
I think that would help.
I took it off anyways. stand closer.
Can't hear you.
All right, my name is Adrian Garcia. I grew up in neighboring Hampton Township and moved here with my wife in 2020 after graduating college. I became interested in Paul Walters Park while it was under construction, still is, and joined the Recreation Advisory Council. After that, I started becoming more interested in our local government and seeing what I could do to help. I'm involved in the Riparian Rangers program, which is managing the planting of trees down at the nature preserve. A lot of people call it the tube farm. I'm a member of the South Central Young Democrats, trying to organize more young people to get into politics. And I am a software engineer by trade. I'm used to managing many competing interests and looking long-term. I believe that in the township we need to continue supporting our parks and build a comprehensive trail. We've only just started the journey on connecting our parks, but we have a long way to go. Connecting the parks to the trails will provide opportunities for people to walk to their destination instead of driving, adding one more car to the Carlisle Pike. I'm not for bike lanes on the Pike, as some people have talked about before, but I do think that we need bike lanes along the side of the Pike to help people get where they're going. I believe that we need slow and metered development. This land is going to be here for a long time. We don't need to develop it within our lifetimes. I think the township should be looking further down the road. We should be developing plans for what happens in the next 50 years or more. It's hard to think that far ahead, but we can develop multiple plans to help guide us in the future. My daughter isn't even born yet, but I'm already concerned about making this township a better place to live for my grandchildren.
Thank you, Adrian. Don Sokolowski.
Thank you, Business Advisory Council, for arranging this event tonight. I'm delighted to be here and talk about my vision for Silver Spring. My name is Don Sokolowski. I am running for Township Supervisor because I love this township. I've lived in this community for 30 years and raised our family here with my wife, Kim. We are truly invested in this community. I believe the residents and businesses deserve responsible leadership, fresh ideas, and real transparency. As a former supervisor, I have focused on the following and will continue to do so. I have a record to stand behind because we need fiscal responsibility, transparency to curb wasteful spending, includes a forensic audit, so we can find out and end wasteful spending. I'm not saying it's there, but I think we need the audit. We need smart development that means no warehouses in our neighborhoods, no bike lanes on the Carlisle Pike, and a balance of what we need to grow our economy and protect our green space. Our roads are not designed to handle the amount of traffic we have on major roadways, let alone our backcountry roads. We need to protect the quality of life by supporting our police and our firefighters. We have always advocated for fiscal responsibility and smarter financial services. I will continue to focus on keeping taxes low while maintaining the services our residents deserve. I'm proud of my private sector experience working with real budgets and real accountability. Time and budget management is what I do on a daily professional basis, and I will bring that with me to the township. A critical issue for our township that I see is our infrastructure. Our roadways do not support the growth we have experienced. Growth is happening whether we like it or not. The reality is we cannot ignore it. I believe we need to address the infrastructure now before it becomes a larger problem than it already is. We need real leadership that will prioritize upgrading our roads, improving traffic flow, protecting our water resources, and ensuring the public safety services can meet the demands of a growing population. Infrastructure isn't glamorous, but the foundation for maintaining, ignoring it isn't.
Don, your time is up. Thank you. Next, we will hear from Atreya Sindiri.
Good evening, neighbors and friends. My name is Atreya Sindiri, and I'm honored here tonight as a candidate for Silver Spring Township Supervisor. Thank you, Business Advisory Council and Kingston Fire Company. My family and I lived in this township for the past 17 years, like many Asian Indian families who moved here over the last 2 decades. Sangeeta, my wife, and my mom were welcomed with open arms, and I've never forgotten the kindness. I'm here to give back and serve the community that embarrassed us. I'm not a career politician, I'm a community builder. I've spent 28 years leading in business and public service. I worked for Deloitte, worked for KPMG, and now leading the human capital systems at Abercrombie & Fitch, where I manage more than 33,000 employees. I'm also a licensed realtor and a franchise owner, and a real-world experience managing operations and building teams. I hold an engineering degree and an executive education with Wharton School of Business. My background helps me bring structure, accountability, problem solving to every role I take on. Here in this township, I served on the Cumberland Valley School Board. I also helped launch nonprofit organizations that promote religion, youth sports, Indian culture, and finally to strengthen our community ties. What drives me is simplicity, fiscal responsibility. We must protect all our dollars, invest in the right priorities, and bring the transparency to township spending. Smart development. Let's stop building warehouses.
Atreya, your time is up. Thank you. Next up is Sam Herbert.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Sam Herbert. I'm running for the Silver Spring Township Board of Supervisors. Before I start introduction, I want to thank Mr. Wayne, moderator, Mr. Allen, Business Advisory Council, New Kingston Fire Company, and all the people who came here sacrificing your time. Thank you so much. Again, I am Sam Herbert. I live in Silver Spring for more than 22 years. I am also a member of Christ Community Church, Camp Hill, for more than 22 years. I am married to Joan Herbert for 24 years. She is also a school board candidate, and we have 4 kids, 3 daughters and a son. I am running this campaign for the 4th time. I ran in 2019, 2021, 2023. I'm running 4th time in 2025. I lost the 3 elections by very few votes, by 67 votes. I am also a IT director in Geisinger, managing $70 million budget every year, 105 people in 7 states. I do vendor management, contract management, budget management, and also risk management and benefit realization. I have 6 degrees, master's degrees, including electrical engineering, and predictive analytics, and administration, health administration, public administration, health administration. I have 3 fellows, including fellows in finance and also healthcare and insurance. I am currently the board of auditors. I was auditor for 2 years. I did audit. We also did independent audit, similar to the forensic audit. I'm also a firefighter, proud firefighter, member of Silver Spring Fire Company, and also I am part of the Recreation Advisory Council for the last 7 years. The reason
Thank you, Sam. Your time is up.
Thank you.
Last but not least, Laura Brown.
Good evening, everyone. For those who don't know me, my name is Laura Brown, and I've been a Silver Spring Township Supervisor for 5.5 years now. I'm running for re-election, obviously. I thought it might be useful to share why I ran for supervisor back in 2019. Not everyone knows about this, but I thought it could be useful. In 2018, while serving as chair of the Land Preservation Board, I became aware of a troubling plan. The developer for Greyhawk Landing and his attorney wanted to put a road through the preserved McCormick Farm. They wanted a road through this to provide better access to the planned housing development in Greyhawk Landing from the Carlisle Pike. The McCormick Farm was permanently preserved through a conservation easement held by a land trust which refused to divide the farm by a road or anything else. In February of that year, this attorney, who also served on the Cumberland County School Board, Cumberland Valley School Board, made a motion for the school district to take the McCormick Farm by eminent domain. Not only was a serious conflict of interest on his part, but he never disclosed the farm's preserved status to the other members of the board, a breach of ethics and transparency. That's when I founded Save the McCormick Farm, a grassroots group of concerned residents. We organized, educated the public, and pressured the district to reverse its decision. Thankfully, our state legislators passed Act 45, which further strengthened protections on preserved land, and the school board ended up dropping their eminent domain claim. Less than 6 months later, I learned that the same developer's attorney planned to run for Silver Spring Township supervisor. Just a couple of months out from Election Day, I decided to jump into the race along with incumbent Nancy Griffey. I couldn't just sit on the sidelines and risk the integrity of this township's governing
Laura,
body,
your
along
time
with
is
our
up.
Land
Thank
Preservation
you.
Board.
Now each candidate will respond to 3 questions. The first question is, the 2025 budget for Silver Spring Township is $15.7 million. What are your thoughts on the budget from an expense and revenue perspective? And please address both expense and revenue sides of the budget. And we will start this time with Adrian Garcia. You have 3 minutes now to answer the question.
So I believe our current funding is justifiable. A lot of the money coming on the revenue side is from grants or is being reimbursed after the fact by grant programs or the county. The problem with this is that given the current political climate, these grant programs might cease to exist next year. They might even cease to exist this year. A lot of these, or some of these, are federal grants administered by the state government. And if the federal government pulls these grants, that's money that we aren't reimbursed or is never delivered to us. As a result of this grant catastrophe, the state is likely to shrink many of its grant programs as they shift the money to be able to cover losses on their side. As development slows, we will need to either slow spending and delay parks and possibly critical infrastructure, or we will need to find other revenue sources to make up the gap. The 2 biggest decreases will be in real estate transfers, for which Silver Spring receives a commission, and the recreation impact fees for new development. These fees go directly toward paying for park amenities and maintaining our parks. I believe one of the things that we can do to increase revenue for the township when these programs and when these sources of funding go away is to tax or to implement recreation impact fees against commercial developers, whether that's large developments or large businesses like Walmart, Target, or Wegmans. Okay, that was the point I was trying to make. But these fees would be levied against primarily large businesses. Like Sam mentioned, the township does have yearly audits. No one is spending and submitting no one is spending money willy-nilly and not being tracked. And these questions come up at Board of Supervisors meetings all the time. And 9 times out of 10, there was a simple answer. And that remaining 1 time, the answer is complicated but reasonable.
Thank you, Adrian. Don.
$15.7 million. It's a lot of money. In 2019, 2020, when I was Board of Supervisors, it was $14.5 million. It hasn't increased that much. It's only been almost 8%. But going through the budget, it's kind of tricky. Revenue, on the revenue side, reading the budget, I had it highlighted here, was there's almost $4 million in grants we're expecting. What if we don't get that $4 million? It's anticipated. What are you going to do? And most of that, when I looked, was to the police and the fire companies. What happens? There's my argument about protecting and safety for our citizens. Another almost $500,000, I'll say $400,000, is for the traffic study that we paid HRG for sidewalks and bike paths. Is that realistic? I don't think so. I think we need to set our priorities in other places. $15.7 million we can do a lot with, and it's to help our community. That's the wasteful spending I'm talking about. And the reason I want a forensic audit is we don't know where all this money is going. We've got a great revenue. Taxes really haven't increased. We've maintained them. We've done a good job on that side, but I don't agree with how it's spending. That's all I have.
Thank you, Don. Atreya.
The 15.7 million township budget must be more than numbers. It's a reflection of our priorities and values. I believe in fiscal responsibility, not just as a campaign slogan, but as a mindset for every decision. First, on expenses, we need to ensure that every tax dollar is spent with accountability. I will advocate for greater transparency and improved financial discipline in planning and managing our operating and capital budgets. I support a budget that prioritizes core services like snow removal, waste management, and road maintenance, infrastructure upgrades, especially roads and stormwater systems, where many of you have repeatedly voiced concerns about increasing flooding during development, public safety, including increasing our police force to meet our population growth, community well-being, by improving our parks, green spaces, and shared recreation facilities. We must also closely examine existing contracts and ongoing costs to identify inefficiencies and avoid waste, like Don just mentioned. Spending should be strategic, not reactive, and involve long-term planning and prioritization. On the revenue side, I do not support raising taxes on residents. Instead, I believe in smart, data-driven growth that strengthens our tax base without compromising our neighborhoods. Encourage balanced commercial development in appropriate zones. Pursue state and federal grants, especially for infrastructure, public safety, and stormwater management that has commitment. Require developers to contribute fairly to the infrastructure their projects that we rely on. We must also plan for economic uncertainty and be ready for rising costs. With my executive background and years of experience in large-scale building, I'm confident I can help prepare for both short-term needs and long-term investment. Most importantly, I believe in clarity and communications. Residents, including myself, deserve to know how their money is being spent and why. If elected, I will work to publish and transparent budget summaries and encourage more resident engagement. Let's make every dollar work for the people of this township, not just for today, but for generations to come. Thank you.
Thank you, Atreya. Sam?
First, I want to thank the Board of Supervisors here, Supervisor Lara and Supervisor Carl and Supervisor Nancy. The reason I say is there's a surplus when I did the audit, okay? So before we do any audit, we look into the balance sheet, we will look into the income statement, we look into the cash flow, okay? When there is more money coming in, revenue coming in, and there is less expense, that's called positive cash flow, okay? The other side, flip side is a negative cash flow, okay? I was looking into the expenses, revenue, we are doing the audit, even the independent audit was done, similar to the forensic audit. It's very clear. I want to give you a fact, okay? Out of every $1 money, a tax dollar, tax, 74 cents, 74.8 cents goes to the school board, school tax, okay? Only 8 cents goes to the township. Remaining, goes to the county. This is the fact, okay? What we have to do is we have to work collaboratively with school board members, okay? The CV school board is going in a deficit. They are having a debt, okay? So I'm not going to talk more on that. That's a fact, okay? So we talked about, 4 million grant coming in, okay? I have all the facts here, okay? Remember, I'm an auditor for 2 years. I know the things, each and everything, minute things very well. So if you look into the revenue, right? Real estate tax, 2.5 million, okay? Then the fire tax, 1.8 million. Revenue, okay? Grant, 4 million, okay? If you look into the expenses, right? 3.8 million in 2025. Fire protection, 2.1 million. Public safety, $187,000. Planning, building code, planning and zoning. The developers, the builders, a lot of loopholes. They are not, we didn't get the correct impact fees. Currently, the impact fees is we retrieve it from the developers only if the impact is due to transportation related issues. Other than that, we are not doing it. First, we have to change the ordinance. We have to change the MPC, Municipal Planning Code. Put more priority on the developers and builders. Collect the impact fees from them. So that way we can, keep the surplus more. I wanted to tell you more. I was looking into the budget. Almost 162,000 was spent on the, website for moving to cloud. I work as IT director. I manage $70 million. 162,000 is a scam. I'm sorry to say that. But, after 2021, there were 37 ordinances passed, approved. They are not updated in the E-code. The budget for that is $3,000. So we're not spending money.
Sam, your time is up. Thank you.
Thank you.
Laura Brown.
Thank you for the question. First, let me clarify, the 15.7 million figure doesn't tell the full story. When we create our budget, we consider it from the perspective of a long-term fiscal strategy. During my time in office, we've never raised taxes, while at the same time, we've eliminated all township debt and achieved a budget surplus every single year. But I want to point something out. A surplus isn't extra or unneeded money. Just like a homeowner plans ahead to replace a roof, we set aside money for long-term planned expenses, things like the new public works facility, future road improvements. By saving now, we avoid borrowing later, which means no interest payments and no need to raise taxes in the future. Some have questioned our financial stewardship, even calling for a forensic audit, but here are the facts. Silver Spring already undergoes 18 different audits, types of financial audits each year. Everything from a workers' compensation audit to an annual full independent financial audit by a certified CPA. These audits, once completed, are available for residents to review. One of the elected members of the Silver Spring Township Board of Auditors, Sam Herbert, a personal friend and coincidentally one of my opponents, has said publicly he has seen no fraud, no irregularities, and no justification for a forensic audit, as he points out every meeting that we have. We already spend $40,000 a year on the full financial audit alone. A forensic audit would cost taxpayers an additional $100,000 or more with no evidence to support the need for it. In addition, our township management staff reviews expenses monthly, which each department head to make sure that we are on track and on budget with our spending. During my tenure, the township has never exceeded budgeted expenses. Finally, let's address the claim that spending is up 36%. That's patently false. Since I took office, township spending is actually down 5.37%. I'm proud of our finances, our investment strategy, and our forward-thinking approach that protects taxpayers.
Thank you, Laura. Mark?
I've looked at the proposed budget for 2025 of $15.7 million. In the last 6 years, the township has had a surplus of funds, and it looks like 2025 is going to have a surplus as well. Over the last 6 years, the Board of Supervisors has been fiscally responsible, and they have been no tax increases. They have worked to eliminate debt and have a balanced budget every year. The township has also done its due diligence in applying for grant money. These grants have paid for a lot of expensive projects and saved the residents a lot of tax dollars. I have the 91-page full copy of the 2025 general budget. I'm not an accountant, but it looks like the budget is balanced based on sound accountability principles. Every year, the township has an independent audit, which is standard procedure. I received an email from a resident who was a partner at PricewaterhouseCoopers for 38 years. This is what he emailed to Sokolowski and Sundari, who are calling for the forensic audit, and I quote, "Unless there is a serious concern about fraud or malfeasance, a forensic audit is a waste of time and money. If you want to review performance and suggestions for better ways to do things, that is not what a forensic audit does. A simple Google search will confirm this. I was a partner at PwC, having worked there for a total of 38 years, so I have good understanding of what a forensic audit does and does not do. Again, unless there is serious documented concerns about fraud or malfeasance, this recommendation is wholly without merit. I have reviewed the financial statements of the township over the last 5 years, gone to some supervisor meetings, and understood the decisions made by the township. I have not seen any evidence of fraud or malfeasance," and I unquote. This is one example how Sokolowski and Sundari want to waste your tax dollars. I will always promote transparency and accountability. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Question number 2, and again, each candidate will have 3 minutes to respond. What are your views on future commercial and residential development in the township? And this time we'll start with Dawn.
My views on commercial and residential development is they need to be separated. It can't be like what happened here recently. We can't allow decisions made to have the commercial development close to residential buildings. I mean, it's a danger, safety. We have property that's already zoned for commercial. Let's keep it where it is. Let's stop playing with zoning. Let's stop playing with commercial. Comp plan, let's leave it. Let's decide. Every time we change a board, it changes. We keep making changes. The residents will be comfortable with what that final decision is and don't change it again. Whenever it gets changed is when we have problems. We end up with situations like we have now. This township has been in an uproar recently, lately. A lot of decisions made by the existing board. One is cost cap with the fuel station revisions. One is the warehouse that wants to go on Texaco Road that Mike has done such a great job challenging and forcing it and changed actually the existing board of supervisors' decision to not allow it. It's now in court. Nobody knows what's going is costing the township money. It's a bad decision, it's a bad occurrence, and it's costing a lot of money. Again, let's keep the residents and the commercial properties separate. The way it is set the comp plan, set the zoning plan, and let it stand.
Growth is inevitable, but how we grow will determine the long-term health and character of Silver Spring Township. We must be more thoughtful and resident-focused on how development is approved and managed. Let's start with commercial development. Businesses are vital to our economy, but we must ensure that what we bring doesn't overwhelm our infrastructure or disrupt residential life. We have heard the public loud and clear. Warehouses, especially near neighborhoods, are a growing concern. Residents have strongly objected to increased truck traffic on Texaco Road and Keener Drive. A friend of mine, actually 2 friends of mine, are moving from Texaco Road, which weren't built to handle heavy-duty vehicles. The proposed warehouses threaten to bring 24/7 industrial traffic through residential areas. Environmental concerns, including noise, air pollution, and storm water runoff that could affect properties outside floodplains. The presence of large warehouses can lower property values and degrade community aesthetics. We need commercial development that adds value without adding risk. That means targeting office parks, small businesses, and mixed-use spaces that generate revenue without harming traffic flow on our neighborhood safety. Now for residential development, we have seen the consequences of overdevelopment. Residents are concerned about overburdened schools, increasing traffic congestion, and flooding due to poor stormwater planning. I support responsible residential growth that aligns with our infrastructure capacity. Every new development must have a clear plan for roads, schools, and emergency services. Zoning decisions must be consistent and community-driven. Changing zoning midstream, like turning residential land into commercial without proper input, erodes public trust. If elected, I will advocate for a pause on large-scale development until we thoroughly assess cumulative traffic, school, and floodplains. A community-first zoning approach, no more rezoning without neighborhood involvement. Development that complements, not competes with our suburban character. We have a beautiful township. Let's grow with intention, not just expansion. The decisions we make today will define Silver Spring Township we leave to the next generation. Let's make those decisions together with transparency, data, and heart. Thank you.
Thank you, Andrea. Sam. So in the previous time I mentioned about, the Board of Supervisors, they do an awesome job. So they passed 37 ordinances. It's since 2021, okay? So we have a comprehensive plan, municipal planning code. We have Article 2, zoning ordinances. Then we have sub-development plan, right? So the MPC is the most important thing, okay? So today the question is commercial versus residential, right? There are 17 different zonings, okay? Even if you take residential, R1, R2, R3, commercial, C1, C2, C3, okay? I was going through the Silver Spring Township E-code, each word by word, line by line, okay? Guess what? It was last updated in 2014, okay? I was looking into the conditional use for a duplex, for a townhouse, for a multiple family dwellings. There are a lot of ways to improve, okay? So there are loopholes for the developers to change those conditional use to suit their requirements. The builders are benefiting it. We had an inflation in the last 4 years, but see the home prices increased double. The builders, developers are enjoying it. The home prices went from 500,000 to $1 million. Even there was inflation, still the builders were enjoying their life. They got a lot of benefits. So we have to do an overhaul of those ordinances. Okay, I want to give you a real example. I live in Foxwood. Okay, I go through Delight. Okay, so next to Delight there's a home. So what happens is that the whole Delight is filled with parking space. It's not right. What about the Tika Shack? What about the traffic? What about Costco? I have 4 kids. When I go through that, Taksaka Road, lot of trucks. So what's going on, right? So a lot of congestion. So what is needed is we need to overhaul, we need to look into the ordinance and try to make sure that all those loopholes are closed so that the builders or developers, the real estate agents, they do not take that thing and benefit from that. I get elected, I promise you, I'm going to work with other supervisors and make a change to that, right? The next thing is E-code. That's the one reference I go and check. If I want to do something in my home, put a deck in the back, I look into the website, but the E-code is not updated for the last 4 years. So that's why we need to update as well. Okay. So I want to tell you about Cumberland County did a survey in 2023. Okay. So Silver Spring residents are the top participants. 160 people participated in that. Okay. So the survey says what I will do is I will take a survey of Silver Spring residents, what they want, what zoning changes we need to make. I will work based on the survey. Thank you.
Thank you. A resident who is a realtor, someone who could personally profit from more development, recently told me he thinks we should consider a moratorium on all new development in Silver Spring Township. As long as we have parcels in the township that are zoned for development, I do not believe that it is possible to cease all development. I do, however, believe that his comment reflects something important. Residents are deeply concerned about the pace and type of growth happening in our community. And I agree to your point. For example, I think we have plenty of single-family home subdivisions already. Another one is already planned. Our schools are overcrowded, traffic is worsening, and much of our remaining open space is at risk. I don't want to develop any more of our rural land, but I do believe we need more diversity in housing, including apartments and townhomes for young professionals, retirees, and working families who are looking for more affordable, low-maintenance options. And the good news is some of this type of housing is already in the works. As for commercial development, this is something that people misunderstand about me. I do not oppose all commercial developments. If you look at Silver Spring Township's zoning map and the county tax parcel software, the township still has quite a few vacant parcels that are zoned commercial, light industrial, and interchange. These can and should be used for good, solid businesses, ones that provide goods and services residents want, that treat employees and customers well, will put down roots with the intent to stay in our community for the long term, and of course are able to generate meaningful tax revenue. There are even some opportunities for redevelopment within the township. My opponents have stated that they don't believe in building warehouses in residential areas, seemingly implying that I do. Well, I don't want warehouses in residential areas either. This is why I voted in opposition to the 1.2 million square foot warehouse that was proposed to be built on the former Eurolitz Farm property. Finally, as many of you know, land preservation is my passion. I believe in trying to maintain balance in the township by preserving our remaining farmlands, woodlands, and open space. To summarize, I do not think that we need more single-family subdivisions. I believe in bringing the right businesses to the right areas of our township. Like my opponents, I don't want warehouses in residential areas. I also do not believe in further rezoning of any more agricultural or rural land. Instead, I want to protect the rural parts of our township from any more development now and in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Laura.
I share the residents' concerns about the exponential growth and large-scale development that has impacted our quality of life. There was a comprehensive zoning revision done in March of 2022. This was just 3 years ago, so I'm not for any rezoning or spot zoning of any property in the township. I was pleased to see the board at the last meeting vote to make industrial 2 conditional instead of by right. Silver Spring Township is one of the fastest growing townships in the state. This is not always a good thing. With rapid growth comes growing pains. Infrastructure, schools, fire, police, EMS, water, sewer, all struggle to keep up. I would like to see development slow down to a more reasonable pace. All development should be done in respect to how the property is zoned. The residents of the township should be made aware of all building applications as soon as something is submitted. All supervisor, planning, and zoning board meetings should be videoed to give the residents more access to what's going on. In July of 2024, I discovered that a developer was planning to build a 1.2 million square foot mega warehouse known as the Silver Spring Trade Center. This mega warehouse would have been built in a floodplain and it was surrounded by residential neighborhoods. This would have generated over 1,000 tractor trailers a day going to this facility, which doesn't have the infrastructure to support it. I hired an attorney and 3 professional engineers to represent the residents in this fight. The Board of Supervisors unanimously voted no to the warehouse, but the developer appealed and we're still fighting in court today. My opponents say, and I quote, "No warehouses in our neighborhoods ever," unquote. I spent a lot of my personal money in this endeavor. Where were they the past 10 months? As a leader in this fight, I've never seen or heard a word from anybody. Action speaks louder than words, and this shows the real integrity of my opponents. I will always be there to the very end, and you can always count on me. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark.
Like it or not, our township is unbalanced. We have too much residential and not enough commercial. The issue that this causes is a lot of congestion and a loss of tax revenue for the township. Now, I don't think that we need to pave over every single piece of farmland to put a Costco on it. That is absurd. But I do think that we need to open up our zoning for mixed-use residential specifically. In the areas where we still have room to grow, where it's already zoned commercial residential. Mixed-use residential reduces traffic and lowers the amount of suburban sprawl. Instead of everyone piling onto the pike at 4 or 5 o'clock to go shopping, they walk down the street to their local shop. This opens up massive opportunities for small business specifically. This higher density residential also opens up the chance for more people to move in and potentially more ownership of homes. I believe we should focus on redevelopment of existing lots as well, rather than paving over farmland that this county is known for. We should, where conflicts do exist between commercial and residential, large buffers should be put in place. If these buffers were in place before the 1.2 million square foot warehouse was proposed, residents might not have had as much of an issue. I'm not saying no one would have had an issue with it. It's still an atrocity. Proposals have been put forward for these large buffers, but the board has elected not to include them in our zoning ordinance. Most recently, there was the Woodlands buffer proposal by one of the township residents that would have required, I believe, 50 feet of dense forest, both understory and upper story. This would result in very little noise, very little light, and very little sight of commercial developments. So, in summary, I believe we still need commercial, but we just need to slow down the cadence of our development by a lot. We're growing too quickly for our own good.
Thank you, Adrian. Question number 3 for the supervisor.
Can you repeat the question?
So what,
I'll repeat. The township has acquired property on Woods Drive. What are your thoughts on the proposed public works facility to be built on that property?
If I can you tell us where on Woods Drive?
Beside my house.
Beside your current tax.
Thank you.
the proposed public works facilities on Woods Drive deserves careful consideration, not just of the need, but also of the location, scope, and impact on surrounding residents. Let me be clear. I support investment in essential infrastructure like public works. However, I believe that any major facility must balance three priorities: functionality, fiscal discipline, and community impact. Here's what we know from recent board meetings. The township has already invested significantly on the Woods Drive site, approving funds for road widening, engineering, and stormwater improvements. Residents in the area have voiced serious concerns, including ongoing traffic violations near neighborhoods and a lack of clarity around how this facility will affect their daily lives. There are also infrastructure risks like nearby flooding and culvert issues, with project-related costs estimated between $500,000 and $1 million. So what's my position? We must reevaluate whether Woods Drive is the correct location. Are we prioritizing operational efficiency over neighborhood impact? Are we thinking long-term? If the facility moves forward, we need strong mitigation measures, traffic rerouting, noise buffers, and stormwater protections to protect nearby residents. And above all, this process must be transparent. As a supervisor, I would implement structured community engagement, including pre-construction forums, project dashboards, and open question and answer sessions. So residents are genuinely part of the conversations and not just observers. I have led complex capital projects professionally, and I know this. Infrastructure should serve the people and not surprise them. We can meet our public work needs while we are respecting the community we serve. Thank you.
I want to give you a background of what is this public works building is going to do. Okay, I told previously I'm a firefighter, so that means I go to the Silver Spring Fire Company and we do the drills every Tuesday, 6 to 9 p.m. So there we store, there's a building there. There we store the salt used for cleaning the snow, those things. Okay, there are a lot of township equipments. They are not stored properly, in a shed or anything. We don't have space to store it. Okay, so if you look at the why we need it, right? So it's basically vehicle equipment storage. That is very important thing. Okay, the salt which we use for putting the road or cleaning the whatever it is, right? So the price of salt has increased twice in the last 5 years. So we need a storage to store the salt, right? Equipment. Plus, if you look in 2000, the total Silver Spring residents is almost 10,000 people. In 2010 is 13,000 people. So in 2020 is 20,000 people. So obviously with the increasing population, lot of people is interacting coming to the township. So we do not have a big conference room. If you attended the Board of Supervisors meeting the last Wednesdays, you can see a very small space. We need more space, right? So in May 2023, Alify Architecture and HRG, they submitted a public presentation, okay? So in that they are proposing 77,000 square foot public works building. I don't think we do not need that kind of big 77,000, big building. They quoted between $34.5 million to $31.6 million, okay? It's not needed for that. So other things, right? The police. If you ever come to the police station, I do. I meet the chief. I want to thank him. I bring cookies to the police station to thank their service. Please do. So if you go there, a lot of police vehicles need space to park. There's not sufficient space, right? Other thing, they want to put a compost, right? Our our tax collector Deborah, 269 Woods Drive. Compost if you put before the home, it's going to cause some smell and all those things. So I do not agree to that, right? We already have a compost where we already share, so continue to use that, right? So my proposal is definitely, we have a lot of grant. We are going to, use the grant to do it, but reduce. I am proposing like 19,000 square foot, 7.1 million based on the availability of the grant. Again, do the survey, right? If you need it or do not need it, right? Talk to the people surrounding it, and based on that, I will do that. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm excited about the opportunity to finally build a new public works facility, and I can give you several reasons why. A friend of mine grew up on a farm. She told me how every night her father made sure every piece of equipment, every tractor, every implement for farming, even the kids' bicycles, was put away in a barn or a shed. He believed you don't leave valuable assets off in the weather. Any reputable farmer knows this. And yet, that's exactly what our public works team is forced to do. Silver Spring Township covers 33 miles with over 100 miles of roads and more than 20,000 residents. Our public works assets, trucks, plows, salt spreaders, and more are conservatively estimated at over $2.5 million. But we have no centralized facility to store and protect that equipment. We're storing it across 3 separate locations, one of which is a rented storage space which costs the township $10,000 a year. Our team has to rotate which equipment gets protected inside in an effort to protect all equipment equally, a system that is neither efficient nor sustainable. And the current facility doesn't just fall short on storage space for our equipment. It's severely inadequate for the 17 hardworking employees who serve our township. There's only 1 bathroom, no proper training room, and a single table with 6 chairs. That's unacceptable. And it's a disservice to the people who plow our roads in winter, take care of our parks, and maintain our infrastructure. If you have any doubts, just visit the current public works facility. It's tucked behind the Silver Spring Community Fire Company near Paul Walters Park. The conditions speak for themselves. This project is long overdue. It's a smart investment that will protect taxpayer-owned equipment, boost efficiency, and give our public works employees the facilities they deserve and our community depends on. I also do want to mention that I support a phased approach to building this facility. I think we need to take it slowly, one step at a time, but it is definitely needed for this community. Thank you.
Thank you, Laura. Mike's back. Mark.
The Woods Drive property was part of a final settlement agreement with HSS investors on the hemp farm property. 49 acres were purchased at a price of $650,000, and this equates to $13,265 per acre. The township population has doubled in size over the last 15 years. The growth of the township has caused for more employees and equipment to service the residents. The current administration building and police building located at 8 Flowers Drive are completely landlocked. There is no room for growth. The Public Works building located behind Silver Spring Firehouse is also landlocked. The The township is currently leasing 3 other building sites to house their equipment, and some of the valuable equipment is sitting outside in the weather. Another issue that we are currently facing is the compost center. We have received a grant for a large portion of the cost, but it expires this year. Moving to this 49-acre site would be the last move that the township would ever have to make. There's plenty of room for future growth. I'm in favor of moving here, but it would have to be done in phases. The first phase should be a compost site, since this is tied to grant money that is about to expire. Looking at the plans, I would like to consider moving the compost center to the north end of the property. This would get it farther from residential property and not directly upwind. The rest of the property would have to be developed in phases as financial capital is available. And I want to repeat, as financial capital is available. Maintaining our roads, fire, police, and EMS should always be our #1 goal. The safety and protection of the residents always come first. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Adrian.
As Laura Brown said, we have outgrown our public works building, probably 2 or 3 times over at this point. We don't have space to park our plows, our trucks, our tractors, our lawnmowers, all of the equipment that hooks up to that. A lot of it is sitting outside. Go to Paul Walters Park, walk along the back of the field, and look down over the public works building, and you'll see the state it's in. Not to mention that there is no room for staging supplies for future development. It's currently sitting between 2 fields at Paul Walters Park. And as was mentioned before, the county composting program has run into difficulties, and we will be forced to either buy or collaborate with other municipalities when it comes to composting equipment. Our current site with Mechanicsburg is barely large enough to support the borough and Silver Spring Township. This new site will be large enough to support us for now and for all future development. Though I do think that the best solution would be for everyone to compost their own leaf litter at home. I realize this isn't attainable for everybody. As for the rest of the municipal complex, I would need to see actual designs for this in order to weigh in on it. Because currently, the only thing that has been proposed is a best case scenario where we get everything we ask for a reasonable price. None of this is detailed drawings except for, I believe, the public works building. So, in short, we don't know what the rest of the municipal complex will be. If we'll have a rec center, if we'll have, or how much space we'll have for staffing, if the rec center will have a pool. Everything is best case scenario right now. Thank you.
Thank you, Adrian. Don.
When I first heard of this, I volunteered to get on the committee and be involved. This is my work. This is what I do. I'm in favor of it. I think it's needed, but I think it needs to be going about in the right manner. I got involved, started going to the meetings, and first thing was, I never saw the architect's proposal, or how many architects were involved, or the architect's contract. Being involved with this, you tie the architect to specific things. First thing is, what's the budget? How much am I gonna pay? How much can the township afford for this building? It wasn't in his contract. He could have free nilly-dilly to do whatever he wanted, and he did. Drawings I saw. Nobody could ever tell me what the budget was. There was no plan. Nobody knew there was rock on that site. Everybody knew there was rock in Silver Spring Township. Right? You know, it was brought up, hey, HRG, let's do some borings. We need to see how much rock is here, so we got a fair price. I think Township did another project years ago, and we paid astronomical amount of money on order because there's no rock clause. Kept paying change order. Those are unexpected costs. The other thing is, we have a developer developing the property right beside us that gave us that property. Work with them. You have sanitary. You have power. You have the sewer. The sewer, stormwater runoff, everything. Let's coordinate with them. Let them try to work with that developer to pay for some of this stuff. They have to come in and tie into the structures. They're gonna be putting townhouses, I understand, near this. How do we work with them? How do we get them to support what we're doing, get them to pay or provide some of that site work with what we wanna do? It'll keep our costs down. So there's a lot of, it just, to me, it seemed like there was no direction, no plan. I get it, again, you can't just have wishful thinking. But I agree with everybody else in this. Do we need it? Would it be nice? Yes. But let's come up with a plan. How are we gonna spend money? What's the overall budget? Where are we gonna get the funds from? Phase it. Mark said exactly what I'm thinking. Let's phase it. You don't have to do it all at one time. And create a phased budget. You know, let's do the site work. Let's do the public works. Let's protect our vehicles. Let's protect our people.
Thank you, Don. Thank you. Now we're going to give each candidate 3 minutes to make closing remarks. And before we do that, we also have 2 candidates in the township for tax collector. One could not be here tonight. Joanne Herbert is not present. She could not make it. But sitting here all night patiently through all of the supervisor questions and comments is Bob Cedar, who is the other candidate for tax collector. So we're going to give him 3 minutes to make remarks.
Good evening, all. Thanks for your patience. I won't take 3 minutes. I'm going to read you a letter that probably all of you are going to get this week if you haven't gotten it already. Here's my best foot forward for tax collector. Dear neighbors, my name is Robert Cedar, and I'm asking for your support to become the next Silver Spring tax collector upon the well-earned retirement of our long-term incumbent. Thank you, Deb. Please vote for me in the Republican Pennsylvania primary May 20th, and then again in the general election on November 4th. This being a nonpartisan position, and there being no Democratic candidates, I'd be honored to earn your Democratic write-in as well. Qualifications. I have a Bachelor of Science in Commerce from Rider University in Lawrenceville, New Jersey, and an MBA from the University of Texas in San Antonio. I have several industry certifications, and the latest certification I've added is Qualified Tax Collector certification from the Pennsylvania DEC. So I'm prepared ahead of time. I have 35 years of business leadership experience in manufacturing, distribution, accounting, and customer satisfaction. I have 45 years of economic study and fiscally conservative decision making. I have 18 years as a resident of Silver Spring Township, a voter, homeowner, and taxpayer here. And that includes multiple volunteer youth and Silver Spring Township committees. Only he was a township supervisor, so I did a few years back. Motivation. The tax collector is responsible for ensuring the local and county governments and schools receive the funding necessary to deliver the excellence that makes our area a desirable place to live and raise our families. I'm happy to offer my seasoned experience, education, and career achievements, my determination, tenacity, and demonstrated integrity in support of the lifestyle we enjoy. I'm asking for your trust and confidence to put me in this position to safeguard your investment in our community and make certain everyone does their part as well. If you have any questions, you can email me at popcedar@gmail.com. Thank you for your attention. Thanks for the invitation, Alan, and thank you for the PAC for offering this.
Well, thank you very much. I think we want to thank New Kingston Fire Company for hosting us tonight. And we certainly want to thank the Business Advisory Council of the Township for planning and organizing this event. This was a great opportunity for us to get to know a little bit about some of the candidates in office. And I want to thank each of you for coming out tonight. Local government affects our day-to-day life more than any other level of government. It's very important who our township supervisors are. And as a Silver Spring Township resident, I'm proud of how many people took the time out of their busy schedules to come out tonight and learn a little bit about the candidates. So thank you all for coming out. And now we will start with concluding remarks. Again, these are up to 3 minutes each, and we'll start with Sam.
So you heard me. I spoke almost 11, 12 minutes. So thank you so much for coming. I'm running again 4th time. Please give me an opportunity this time. I'm going to work hard, do more door-to-door campaign. So what I'm going to do, why you need to elect me? What's the reason? I told very clearly that I'm going to work on the ordinances to make it more strict, conditional use, or anything we need to change. That way we are going to put very strict ordinance against the builders and developers. We are not going to give any loopholes to the developers. And we are going to put the impact fees. So whatever they are going to do, what is impacted, we are going to get it from them, not from the taxpayer money. And also the traffic congestion. We are going to, increase the public safety and increase more safety to the people who walk. And also, I am a qualified candidate. I have a public administration degree. I have a fellow in finance. I am a board of auditor. I have experience to do this job. At work, I manage $70 million budget, so I have good experience there as well. I want to address one important thing right now, before this camera. So there was a mailer sent out against me, 9th mailer recently, okay? I became the part of the hate club, okay? So previously my friends, Supervisor Lara and Mr. Mark, they are part of the 8 mailers. Suddenly they included me in the 9th mailer, okay? So I really appreciate this, but tell the fact, don't tell lies, okay? I want to give you very clear information. You can go and see the recordings, okay? In 2025, January 2025, January 6, when the Board of Auditors meeting was happening, one of the gentlemen from the public submitted a request for a forensic audit, okay? The other auditor was Kevin. The third auditor was not there. There were only 2 auditors at the time, myself and Mr. Kevin there, okay? So he doesn't give any evidence, he doesn't give any reasons. Just he told, I do not agree with this, just we need to order a forensic audit, okay? We all know due diligence, very important part of any audit. I myself, auditor at work as well. I do a lot of audits, IT audits, okay? So I told, let's, work on that. Let me talk to the Board of Supervisors. Let's talk to the other auditor. I did a lot of, audit of that independent audit, that report. I didn't find anything, any concerns there. But the gentleman told, you have to do your audit, okay? I told, let's table it, okay? So I voted to table that, but that gentleman put it in the fair zoning there.
Sam, your time is up. Thank you.
So
Sam, your time is up. Thank you.
Thank you.
Laura Brown.
I do want to thank the Business Advisory Council for hosting this event, and Alan, thank you for being very accessible and responsive. As we wrap up today, if there's one thing I would hope you remember about me is my passion for land preservation. My opponents and some of their supporters have claimed I'm for development or for warehouses, but I will proudly stand on my record of land preservation in the township. During my time as supervisor and chair of the Land Preservation Board, I I've worked to preserve 17 properties with over 828 acres, and with another 10 properties and 674 acres. My husband tells me I spend way too much time talking about the numbers, but we're talking about 27 properties in this township that will be preserved forever, will never be developed. I think that's a huge deal. Even within the past 3 weeks, I've spoken to 6 different landowners with interest in preserving their properties. One even called me today. Despite all the land we've already preserved, there's still even more to be done. Preserving land means preserving clean air, clean water, wildlife habitat, and the ability to grow food that supports our local economy and fills our farmers markets with fresh, locally sourced fruits and vegetables. Here's something many residents may not be aware of. Recently, we've seen new pressure on farmland, not just from developers looking to build homes or warehouses, but from corporations looking to build massive data centers. I've already worked with one farmer who was being pressured to sell to a company who wanted to build a data center, and now we're working on preserving his farm. These data centers run 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and bring with them significant noise pollution, light pollution, and enormous demand on our electrical grid and water resources. Make no mistake, these developers behind these data centers don't care about the character of our community. They have deep pockets to buy up large tracts of farmland, and they're willing to spend whatever it takes to get what they want. That's why land preservation is not just about protecting what we have, it's about standing up to those who permanently alter the landscape of our township, all in pursuit of lining their own pockets by destroying our land. This is why I care, this is why it matters. Thank you.
Thank you, Laura. Mark.
Thank you for coming out tonight to learn more about myself and the other candidates. Voting empowers citizens to decide what they want to best represent their beliefs and values in government. I never had a desire to run for political office, but last year, when I got involved in the fight to save our community from warehouses, I saw things that concerned me. I felt compelled to do something that I just couldn't sit on the sidelines anymore. Unlike my opponents, I have no ties to any developers or special interest groups. No one has their hooks into me. I am not a politician. I don't even trust politicians. I'm a lifelong resident of Silver Spring Township who is deeply concerned about the direction that we are heading. If you're not aware, an outside dark money group has been trying to buy this election for township supervisors. The so-called Super PAC has bombarded Republican super voters with 9 election mailers over the last 3 weeks. They have been spending loads of money speaking for our opponents, trying to influence this election with their dirty politics. Sokolowski and Sendiri have denied any involvement with this PAC, and I find that hard to believe. Even if they are not, they haven't made any effort to tell the public that they are against what this PAC is doing. This says a lot about morals and integrity. Ask yourself this: if I want to be making, ask yourself, is this who I want to be making decisions for me on the board? Tonight, Laura and I are fighting back against Strong's Silver Spring PAC. We have created an 8.5 by 11 flyer that is available as part of our campaign literature, and we'd like for you to take one home tonight. They're over on the table. Please be sure, if you want someone who has integrity, honesty, truly cares about this community, then please vote for me. My goal is to keep and make Silver Spring Township a great place to live and to raise a family. I hope I have earned your trust and support, and I ask for your vote for the Township Supervisor on May 20th. Thank you, and may God bless your family and Silver Spring Township.
Thank you, Mark. Adrian.
Last time I have to adjust it. So, as you've heard me say, time and time again, I'm all about parks and infrastructure. I believe they are our #1 priority because our parks are infrastructure. They're infrastructure that builds health and community. believe that trails are infrastructure too that we should be focused on. And I did want to make one note that the Carlisle Pike Transportation Study was paid for almost entirely by the Harrisburg Area Transportation Study Group. A grant provided by them paid for this study, not the township. I believe that the township should work on being a little more transparent. I believe that all meetings should be streamed. Though I try to attend every meeting in person, it would certainly be useful to stream them from home, especially whenever the topic is 3 hours of talking about towing ordinances. I believe that the development plans submitted by developers should be available along with the agenda for Board of Supervisors and Planning Commission, because this information is already available to us should you submit a right to know request. That right to know request takes valuable time to process. If they were made available to us, then no one would be complaining about how long it takes to get information back about these developments coming forward. I believe that we cannot fundamentally change the world, but we can change what's in arm's reach. We can have an influence on our township, on our community, and that is what I'm trying to do here today. I know that many of you in the room are Republicans, so this does not apply to you, but please come and vote for me on May 20th for the Democratic primary and in November for the general. Thank you.
Thank you, Adrian. Don.
Thank you, everyone. Appreciate everyone coming out. Business community, residents. Deborah, I do want to clarify, I'm not in favor of a compost pile by your property. That's one of the first things we did was move it. Obviously, there are 6 of us running, so it seems to me there's something wrong, or something that the residents aren't happy with. I'm not happy with it, that's why I'm running again. I was on the board 7 years ago, and I couldn't commit my time to it. I'm gonna commit my time to it this time, that's why I'm here. And I see there's problems, I see there's an uproar with the residents, and I think we can still improve on it. We can do a lot better than what's going on now. Again, I'm going to request a forensic audit on smart and responsible development. Also, want to improve our infrastructure. A lot of the problem is the traffic congestions. We keep developing. We're hurting our schools. We're hurting our roads. We're hurting our residents by not improving the roads that we live on. No reason you say I'm pro-development or I'm with the developer. I've been with the developer, yes, and I know what the developer will do if you ask. We are not asking. Just putting in this housing, putting in these residence communities, there's no way out. Overburdening our roads. Check with the sewer authority, we have plenty of EDUs. There's not a problem there. Traffic congestion. I travel Woods Drive, Mulberry Drive, I go to the Bay, I avoid Carlisle Pike at all costs, to and from work. It's horrible, but it's better than the Carlisle Pike. It's old farm country road. What are we doing? I know we expanded the sewer across 81 finally. That's only going to promote growth. Eventually we'll have water over there for the fire companies. Someday. We may have to build a water tower, help the water company put a water tower. We saw what happened here in the Shoe Forest lately. It could happen anywhere. It happened in California, it happened in Hawaii. We need to do better. We need to support our services. Again, infrastructure, concern, traffic congestion, residential areas from warehouse overload. Fight for transparency and fiscal responsibility. Defend our police and first responders. I ask ask for your vote. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Donna. Atreya.
And the last to close, but the best candidate for you guys. Humor aside. Thank you everyone for being here. Wayne and the BSE and the fire company here. Like I said, my name is pronounced Atreya Sindiri. I will bring fresh perspective, discipline, planning, and inclusive leadership. I have been fortunate to live here for 17 years, representing many Asian Indian families, and my family was welcomed. I'm a community advocate. I'm not a politician. I'm a business leader and a parent who deeply cares along the long-term health of our township. I do bring strong 28 years of executive and technical experience. That's key. Managing large teams and multi-million-dollar budgets, an engineering degree, and like I said before, an education from Wharton School of Business. Service experience from the Cumberland Valley School Board, as appointed last year. 2 nonprofit organizations that strengthen our families, religion, and youth programs. I've led complex initiatives, how to navigate challenges with accountability, structure, and results. If elected, you will all like this part, being fully accessible and responsible by phone, text, email, or in person. My wife is going to kill me for that. Practicing fiscal responsibility with no tax increases unless absolutely necessary. Demanding smart developments, no warehouses in neighborhoods. I stand to that. No rezoning that undermines the quality of life. Promoting transparency so residents know how decisions are made and where the tax dollars go. Prioritizing infrastructure and core services. I strongly believe in representation and equity. Families like mine, diverse, underrepresented, and invested in this community deserve a seat at this table. I will bring not just diversity in the background, but also diversity in thought, leadership, and long-term planning. I am proud to run along Don Sokolowski, whose values and dedication to this township align closely with mine. We offer a balanced and proven leadership, committed to smart growth, community service, and protecting, which makes Silver Spring special. We bring different strengths, but the same goal, to serve the community with accountability, transparency, and heart. This is just not a campaign, it's a commitment to listen, lead, and make a difference. I want to briefly address the mailers sent by Silver Spring Super PAC. I have no connection to this group and do not support negative campaign. I believe in positivity, respectful, and
Atreya, your time is up. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.